levels of buyer. You got buyer 1, buyer 2. We just always said buyer. So in reality, I just knew there was a buyer position opening, and he said it's pretty high up. So when I applied, it could have been for this one, it could have been for Exhibit 11. I just knew I applied for a buyer's position. We never did discuss 1, 2 for A, B, or anything else. It was just buyer. But he did say it's pretty high up.
The position that he was offered.
Yeah.
Did you care one way or another whether your position with the county would be a buyer 1 or a buyer 2 position?
Not really.
You just wanted to get a job with the county.
I needed insurance.
You needed health insurance?
I needed health insurance.
Did you also need the income?
Yeah, I needed the income, but the health insurance was the driving factor, or of importance to me, I should say.
And the job, either one, buyer 1 or buyer 2, the job paid somewhere in the range of $23,000 per year up to $35,000 a year, correct?
Correct.
Did you still have an understanding by November 2008 that you might be considered ultimately to replace the assessor?
Yes.
And that could happen anytime over the next 5 years?
Yes, sir.
So when you applied for the buyer position with Anderson County, after having discussed it with Mr. Preston, did you believe that you were most likely going to be employed by the county for at least up to 5 years?
Yes.
And then ultimately would take over the assessor job, correct?
That was my thinking at the time.
In the meantime, you had started, by November 2008, you had started taking the appraisal courses that Mr. Preston had talked to you about, correct?
Yes, yes. Back in August, I had asked Joey if, since I'm going into purchasing, do I need to take the appraisal courses? And he said, yeah, go ahead and take them. So I didn't know what he was thinking. He never did disclose to me. He said, yeah, go ahead and take them.
The meeting of November 18, 2008, during the meeting, a motion was made to amend the agenda, correct?
Yes.
By Mr. Wilson?
I don't remember. I just know it happened.
Okay. Would you agree with me that when you look at the agenda, the final version of the agenda for the November 18, 2008 meeting, there was no line item that discussed the possibility of voting on a severance package for Mr. Preston?
It was not on the original agenda, correct?
Neither was there any line item on the original agenda that said the county council was going to vote on hiring Mr. Cunningham, correct?
Correct.
Both of those matters happened by way of amendment.
Yes.
During the meeting.
Yes.
You were presiding over the meeting, were you not?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that at least 2 council members were upset by the way the meeting happened?
Yes.
And ultimately, votes you allowed, as chair, you allowed votes to happen on both severance agreement for Mr. Preston and an employment agreement for Mr. Cunningham.
Yes.
Did you think that the process by which those votes came about was fair to the county council members who objected?
Yes. Yes.
Why do you think it was fair?
Robert's Rules of Order.
And did you ever go back to look at any county ordinances with respect to the procedure for preparing the agenda for county council meetings?
Yes.
Did you ever determine in your own mind whether or not the county ordinances governing the procedure for amendments to the agenda were followed?
Say that again.
Did you ever go back to try to determine in your own mind whether any county ordinances that might relate to amending the agenda of the county council meeting were followed?
After this event or prior to this event?
At either time?
Yes.
Which one?
I frequently refer to the Robert's Rules of Order handbook and to the county ordinance throughout my time on council as to how I should preside.
I'm going to show you a couple things, Mr. Thompson, real quick, just to have you identify them for me.
Okay.
All right, first is exhibit number 13. You can identify exhibit number 13. What is it?
Severance agreement and release of claims.
Okay, so the first one, if I'm understanding right, is the severance agreement. That relates to Joey Preston, correct?
Yes.
And then the second one, exhibit number 14, what is that?
Master employment agreement.
Relating to who?
Michael J. Cunningham, herein sometimes thereafter referred to administrator. I'm sorry, I messed that up. Mr. Cunningham.
Now, are these two agreements the ones that were voted on at the November 18, 2008 County Council meeting?
Yes, they were voted on. Here.
After the meeting, did you go see Mr. Cunningham about the buyer position with the county? After the meeting of November 18, 2008?
Yes, I met with Mr. Cunningham on the 19th, that morning after this meeting,
Okay.
in his office.
Why did you meet with him on the 19th?
Because we need to sign this.
You need to sign the agreement.
We need to sign this.
Did you talk with him at all on the 19th about the buyer job with the county?
Yeah, that's when we signed this.
Okay.
And then I brought it up, yes.
Okay, what happened on November 19th when you met with Mr. Cunningham with respect to the buyer job with the county?
He didn't think it was a good idea. He thought it was a conflict of interest.
Did he express that to you?
Yes.
What did he say about it was a conflict? What did he think was a conflict about you taking a buyer?
I voted on these two docs,
Okay.
and then working for the county. After that, he thought it was a conflict.
Did he indicate to you that he did not want to hire you as a buyer for the county?
No, he didn't say that. He said it was not he thought it was a conflict of interest for me to work for the county. He didn't specify any positions.
Or period, just for any position at the county, essentially.
He just said it's not a good, he didn't think it was a good idea for me to work for the county after voting on these docs. Because he thought it was a conflict of interest.
And by these docs, you mean the severance agreement for Mr. Preston and the employment agreement for Mr. Cunningham?
Yes.
What did you do after Mr. Cunningham told you he thought it would be a conflict of interest for you to work for the county?
Went to Joey.
And what did Mr. Preston do?
He said it was not a conflict of interest.
Did he hire you?
Yes.
Mr. Preston's the one who hired you?
Yes.
Do you remember what day that was?
Back in August?
You thought he hired you back in August?
Yes.
Did he ever have to formalize it by a written document of any kind?
Yes.
How was
There's a personnel action form or something to that effect that he completed before he left.
that Mr. Preston completed before he left?
Yes, Mr. Preston
Do
completed.
you know what date he completed that form?
No.
Was it before January 1st, 2009?
Yes, it was before he left. Well, he left in December
2008?
2008.
Sometime in December, you think? What's your best recollection? When did you see Mr. Preston actually sign a personal
No.
action form?
I never saw it. He just said, I saw him out on the street somewhere, maybe across the street at Sullivan's, and he said that he had signed the PAF, and for me not to worry that I have a spot with the county.
Okay.
And that's as far as I took it.
Would you agree with me that that discussion you had with Mr. Preston, whether it was at Sullivan's or where it might have been, happened after the November 18th, 2008 County Council meeting?
Yes.
At the County Council meeting on November 18th, 2008, did you ever reveal to the County Council that you were actively seeking employment with the county before voting on the severance agreement for Mr. Preston?
No.
Did you ever reveal to anyone in the public who was available at the county council meeting that you were actively seeking employment with the county council, or with the county at the November 18, 2008 county council meeting?
No.
Did you recuse yourself from voting on the severance agreement for Mr. Preston because you were seeking employment with the county?
No.
Did you recuse yourself from voting on the employment agreement with Mr. Cunningham because you were seeking employment with the county?
No.
Did you think it was a conflict of interest for you to be seeking employment from the very two people that you voted on their agreement for?
No.
You said earlier that you had been advised, when in doubt, recuse yourself, correct?
Yes.
You weren't even in any doubt.
There was no doubt. I had already been hired.
Did you ever, are you aware of whether or not you ever actually showed up on the payroll as an employee of the county working in the purchasing department?
I received a paycheck.
Now let me show you exhibit number 16, which I believe you talked about in your prior deposition in the
Yes.
Cunningham case, but let me make sure. If you would look at exhibit number 16 and tell me what it is.
This is the pay stub that I received in January of 2009.
Okay, what does it tell you about your employment in Anderson County?
I'm a county employee.
And do you think this represents your employment as a member of the purchasing department?
Yes, that's the way I took it.
Why do you take it that way? What about it makes you think that this reflects that you are working for the purchasing department for Anderson County?
I received a paycheck, and Joey told me before he left that he had signed the document that hired me as a county employee, and then to take those courses, and then this paycheck shows up.
Would it have concerned you to be receiving funds from Anderson County to take appraisal courses if you were not even an employee of the county?
Would it concern me if I was not?
Correct.
Yes, it would concern me, yeah.
Would you agree you would not be entitled to receive any county money for training if you were not even an employee of the county?
Yes.
And in fact, you continued to take appraisal courses into January of 2009, is that fair?
Yes, I did.
Did you take any in February of 2009?
I think I finished up in February.
And those were courses that the county paid for, correct?
Yes.
And you thought you were a county employee at the time?
Yes, I thought I was a county employee
In the purchasing department?
in the person. Yes, that's correct.
Did you ever is this the only document that you believe shows that you were a member of the purchasing department of Anderson County? I mean, are you aware of any other documents besides this pay stub?
There is a PAF. I never physically saw it.
Anything else you can think of besides the PAF and this pay stub?
No.
Do you recall, I mean, does it strike you as odd that you received no additional pay stubs beyond this one that's dated January 16, 2009?
No.
Even though you were continuing to take training in February 2009?
I thought I was a county employee, so no, it did not concern me.
And did you ever do the math to figure out what the amount of pay was compared to your annual salary as a council member? If you divide a council member's salary of $8,930 a year by 26 pay periods, you get $343.46, which is 1 penny different than what this pay stub shows.
Okay.
If that's the case, would you think that this might be just your last paycheck as a county council member?
I never made that connection. I thought it meant I was a county employee with the purchasing department.
Do you agree that you were not receiving health insurance from the county starting January 2009?
When did I know this?
No, I'm just saying, do you agree that you weren't? Whether you learned it later or learned it then, I'm not concerned about that.
Yeah, I learned it later, but at the time I was receiving health insurance from the county.
And as you learned later, the reason you were receiving health insurance from the county was because Michael Cunningham was paying for it.
Yes, I found out after Mr. Cunningham was dismissed.
Did you have any understanding as to why Mr. Cunningham paid for your health insurance?
He's a great guy, that's all I know.
Exhibit 17, I believe is numbered. Yeah, it's numbered sequentially, plaintiff 619 through 21. Are these certificates that you received as a result of taking the various appraisal courses you took that the county paid for?
Yes.
Are these valuable to you personally?
No, I never did use it.
Never used the courses?
No.
In any job you ever got?
No way, shape, or form.
Who signed off on the payments you received for taking the classes, the travel, per diem for these classes?
Jody did.
Why was Mr. Preston the one who signed off on you getting this training?
He's the one that hired me.
Had you received training through the county before as a member of the county council, before these appraisal classes?
Any kind of training?
Any kind of training?
Yes.
That the county paid for?
Yes.
What was the normal process for a county council member who wanted to receive training that would be paid for by the county in terms of who approved it?
The administrator.
And that was always the case?
For me, it was.
Do you know whether it was always the case for other county council members?
I don't know.
And the county administrator was always Mr. Preston during your tenure?
Yes.
Typically, when you took the courses, the appraisal courses that you took, that Mr. Preston talked to you about, typically you had to fill out paperwork that Mr. Preston signed off on to make sure you got reimbursed for the courses. Is that right?
No.
How did you get paid? Who had to sign off from the county side? Who had to sign off on paperwork to make sure you got paid?
Yeah. But Joey, I want to take these courses, or here are the courses you want me to take. Give me the information. Okay, and then I think I talked with Teresa, and then it was approved.
And were there documents that had to be filled out?
Yeah.
And those documents where they needed a signature were signed by Mr. Preston?
Yes.
Let me show you what I think is just an example of that process. This is number 18. Do I have two tied together? I do. Sorry. I have extras. I'm just showing you, Mr. Thompson, an example, what I think is an example of what one of these approval forms for being paid to take the classes, the appraisal classes in particular. If you take a minute and look at it and tell me if you agree that Exhibit 18 relates to your appraisal course training that you received.
Yes, it does. QE 5, 6, or 7 are the last three courses.
Okay. Now QE 5, 6, and 7, those were courses that you took in December of 08, January of 09, and into February of 09, correct?
Oh, yeah. I think the last day was February 1st.
And this, if you look at the second page of this document.
Second page?
Yep. Second page of exhibit number 18.
Okay.
That's what's billed as an Anderson County advanced travel request, correct? One page.
Okay.
And it's signed by the county administrator, Joey Preston. Would you agree?
Yes.
And it indicates that you are asking for advance money to take 3 appraisal courses, correct?
Yes.
So in other words, you're asking the county of Anderson to pay you in advance $2,749.80 so that you can take 3 courses that are coming up later, correct?
Yes.
Why did you have this form filled out and get that advance so far in advance of the classes that you take?
I was in the process of taking courses. And those were the courses he wanted me to take. I want to make sure we complete the process.
Did you want to complete the process before Mr. Preston was no longer available to you?
Yeah.
Because by January 1, 2009, or thereabouts, he was going to be gone, correct?
Yes.
So he wouldn't be able to sign these approvals anymore, would he?
Yeah.
Prior to getting this advance, your typical process for being paid back for these courses was more or less as you went. Would you agree?
Yes.
So you go to one class basically and then submit for reimbursement for the one class.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah,
And Mr. Preston would sign the paperwork to make sure you got paid back.
correct.
And then when this time came, at the end of November 2008, you made sure to get $2,749.80 all in advance, correct?
Yes.
Did you ever ask Mr. Cunningham if he would approve the advance of $2,700 plus dollars?
No, I went to Mr. Preston and said, asked him how he wanted to handle this. And he said he'll take care of it.
Okay. And then ultimately, this paperwork was provided, or at least a check was provided to you in the amount of $2,749.80, correct? Did you have to sign off on the form, Exhibit 18?
I don't think I did. I think I just asked Joey how he wanted to handle this. And he said he'll take care of it. And then I received a check to go take courses. So I just continued, going down to Columbia and taking these courses until they were all taken.
How would you characterize your relationship with Mr. Preston today?
Today, I haven't seen Joey in months, so
Okay.
I would say we have a relationship.
How would you characterize your relationship with Mr. Preston in 2008 when you were county council chair?
He was a friend in addition to being a county employee.
And did that relationship continue after you both left the employment of the county? Would you characterize yourselves as friends after you both left the employment of the county?
I would, but we haven't seen each other in months, so.
Were you ever involved in any business relationship with Mr. Preston of any kind?
No.
Are you aware of any business ventures that Mr. Preston was involved in?
No.
How would you characterize your relationship with Mr. Preston in 2008 when you were county council chair?
He was a friend in addition to being a county employee.
And did that relationship continue after you both left the employment of the county? Would you characterize yourselves as friends after you both left the employment of the county?
I would, but